Overthinking feels scary, but it can also feel good. It's motion without consequence. Whether the motion feels like a lullaby or a nightmare, it's addictive. You wouldn't be able to overthink if you weren't so bright. You're walking around with a sort of double-edged sword in your head. Everyone wrestles with it, and it's very misunderstood. In this video, we're gonna deconstruct overthinking and give you some fresh ways to silence it so you can build sustainable momentum without that constant narrative buzzing. And it fucked me up for a long time. So it's why I'm so motivated to make these videos. We know too much. Part of the reason why overthinking is worse than ever. Too much data, too many feeds, too much advice, too much inspiration. We intellectualize everything. We make fun of everything. Everything is possible all of the time. We're flooded. And when you're flooded, your brain gets tricked into endless optimization instead of making simple moves that are right in front of you. 50 years ago, overthinking was much harder to achieve. Our mammies and pappies didn't have 20 podcasts and 10 gurus and 5 comparison points in their pocket at all times. They had what was right in front of them. Now we're drowning in information, but we're starving for decisiveness. Everyone on social media and at the dinner table is telling you how they did it. And we really often absorb directly conflicting advice from people that we look up to. There are 100 ways to arrive at the same place. The way out of the overthinking advice malaise is to begin to figure out what specifically works for you, and then how to just be a little bit more consistent at it, upstream from overthinking. So we can all pretty much agree that we can kind of recognize when we're in a state of overthinking. So let's go upstream, like what happens before you start to overthink something. The precursors are fear, obsession with time, overcomplicating, and the shame about looking stupid. So if one or any of those happen, so begins the cycle of overdoing something in order to somehow prevent a negative outcome. Overthinking is no different than over-editing, over-seasoning. You're endlessly propping yourself up on a mechanism that's supposed to have an end date. Thinking is like any other tool, and a tool is only good for a few things. We just try to think our way into or out of absolutely everything, and it drives us crazy. Your thought process isn't meant to be on overdrive all of the time. And here's the way upstream view. Every single thought you have is either doubt or belief. And doubt is overthinking's favorite fuel. Chances are it's doubtful thoughts that occupy this process you feel as overthinking. But let's really continue to name it and call it out, because really understanding it is the real judo move here. What is overthinking? Overthinking is motion illusion. It masquerades as real action because you feel hypnotized by preparing. You feel productive, you feel satisfied, but in the safety of overthinking, you never have to actually risk the vulnerability of a real try. It's protected in that bubble in your skull. And since the limbic system in your brain rewards you with dopamine way more for anticipating something and actually getting something, the endless tweaking, the endless thinking is actually intoxicating you. That's the neuroscience. I'll link a few of those studies below. I want to be clear that overthinking is less about you overutilizing analysis and more to do with underutilizing other forms of intelligence in you. Your instinct, your gut feeling, your risk taking, your intuition. My story. This stuff really wrecked me for a while. Like for the better part of 10 years, shame-fueled overthinking turned into procrastination, turned into full-on inertia and anxiety so bad that it hospitalized me a few times. It hollowed out my health, my confidence, my vitality as a musician, as a creative person. I grew up in the church. My dad was a pastor, my mom is a singer and was the worship leader of that church. Amazing, ambitious people who taught me a lot, but with that whole religious upbringing instilled in me a sort of God oppressive shame voice that, of course, ironically enough, became the thing that I used to fuel myself when I left the church into my adult life, into my creative career. I dragged a very binary, shame-laced motivation fuel into a very nuanced area of my life that required human vulnerability, and things didn't go well. The cycle I got trapped into was this creativity and ambition fueled by shame, rebellion to the same thing that was fueling me. That led to overthinking, procrastination, and that's why I really care so much about dismantling this. If you're ready for actual sustainable relief from overthinking without the generic discipline, shame-laced, macho bro advice, click the link below. It's already helped hundreds of creators. Time junkies. Our obsession with time makes us sort of miserable. Think about the last time you were overthinking something. I guarantee you somewhere in there was a timeline, some kind of spinning thought of, when will this happen? Why am I so behind? Human beings are time junkies. Time. It's supposed to be an organizational tool, something to synchronize us, something to organize us. But we've mythologized time into a fucking monster. We narrate our lives through these reference points, where we should be by 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. That obsession with time is at the root of most overthinking. This obsession with time robs you of so much vitality and natural character and vibe and flow. And when you're in those really cool states, you're not thinking about time. So here's the real audit. How do you view time? Do you carry a background hum of feeling behind? If so, you'll feel anxious. If so, you'll overthink. The antidote to the time junkie is to shift time back into what it really is, an organizational construct, not something to run your self-worth. And the thing you endlessly feed thoughts of time to, the very entertaining, the very familiar, the narrator. The story of your life, where to go, who to be, who to love, who to let go of, what, where, when, why, how, the melodrama of it all. Sometimes it's loud, sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes you want to kill it, sometimes you can't live without it. The culprit of all of our overthinking is simultaneously the culprit of most of the magic. You can give this time-obsessed narrator a better story. Try this. Allow the delays to be the space that creates magnetism. Allow the waiting to show you how to get better at desire. You can't despise the space between the seed and the bloom. Every season has a place in your becoming, even the ones that feel like being behind. You're not being punished by time, you're being initiated by it. Thinking has an expiration date. Your brain is a double-edged sword. It's great until it's not. It's useful until it's bloated. It's surgical until it cuts too deep and damages. You can only think about something for so long before you have to hand it over to an iteration or a try, someone else's perspective, downtime, walking away so your subconscious can reset. If you ignore the expiration date, thought mutates into obsession, and that's where your brilliance starts to sort of eat itself. The what, the how. When we don't know what to do, that's usually when we lose our agency and our resourcefulness and start to overthink. We're confident and scrappy when we know what to do. The how seems to kind of solve itself. That's when we get in those cool little states of being really instinctual and really immediate in our action. So next time you feel like you're overthinking, recognize that it's probably about the what, not the how. Iteration is the cure. Iteration is a fancy word for tries, evolutions, versions. Most things are not as complicated as we make them. That's the double-edged sword. But naturally, the scarier something is, the more we're going to complexify it and overthink it. We focus on this when we should focus on this, which becomes this, which becomes this, and inevitably becomes this. Ultimately, overthinking dies when we see every single action as a way to just uncover better action. That's the creative feedback loop. That's how you free yourself. And iteration isn't just do it, it's just do something, tricking yourself out of overthinking. Your thought patterns are very vain, and they thrive on drama and attention, and they get stronger when you sort of mobilize an army to overcome them. And that's why the macho shame, Navy SEAL, academia, superstar, just do it crap doesn't work. It just feeds more fear and more perfectionism. You end up living in that cycle where you think you need to tackle it on the first try. But when you make tiny, messy, compromised action, you undercut that shame voice of discipline. You sneak around it. You disguise yourself as a cook and you sneak past the security guards. Not because you're disciplined, but because that messy little move created clarity in and of itself. You don't outrun overthinking. You judo it. You neutralize it by showing it that you are okay making mistakes, the scary things. There's some things in your life that can't be solved by iteration or by any kind of counterintuitive move. Those things are always going to come with overthinking and procrastination. The key is recognizing that you're often enjoying the endless complexifying and anticipation of those things. Fear and perfectionism in the anticipation of the scary things become an addictive and familiar cycle, trying to control the outcome. Thinking cannot protect you from the inevitable pains of things like this, but knowing that you're avoiding the pain by overthinking is a great judo move. So if you're stuck in your head, remember, you're drowning in noise, you're a time junkie, you're an anticipation junkie. Thinking has an expiration date. You complicate things because it's fun. You endlessly narrate your life. You can trick yourself out of overthinking by deflating the narrative. Iteration, tries, versions, drafts, evolutions are the real silencers. I hope this helps. Come back to it as much as you need. Let's get overthinking to be kind of just this funny little footnote in your life. And if you're ready for the full strategic relief from overthinking, click the link below. Watch this video next. I believe in you.